The winter meetings are here. What are the Yankees going to do, if anything?
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey and Steve. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. New customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. With me, as always, is my producer, Steve Granado. Steve, it's Monday.
And 'tis the season. Happy winter meetings to you. Thank you guys for clicking on the show here today. We are every day this week. This is our last week of 5 episodes a week. After this week, we will be going to 3 episodes a week. So if you're watching this, listening to this the day it comes out, like regular all week, then next week it'll be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Of course, you can always tune into our YouTube channel if anything major happens, just as PSA stuff. We will be live if we can. If not, we will release something if something major happens throughout the week, so you don't have to wait till the next morning right away. So just PSAs all around. Today we wanted to talk about that record Jackson Chourios deal. What am I talking about? What's the fallout of that? That's a whole can of worms we wanted to get into. That's later on in the show. Of course, we're going to get you some rumors and some storylines here from day one of the winter meetings. Of course, that started on Sunday, so we'll get to that here in just a second. But Stace, of course, we want to get into what people can expect here this winter meetings. We're going to look a little bit back at the winter meetings of recent past for the Yankees, see how they operate, what they're looking at, and how do they make the big splashes. So we'll look down the line. Of course, we did want to lay it out right away. I want to caveat the needs, saying don't expect them to get it all done this week.
Right.
Don't expect that at all from the winter meetings. That is, the winter meetings have diminished a little bit over recent years. Maybe because so. 2 of the last 3 years it didn't exist.
Right.
So that doesn't help. But yeah, so just quick PSA on that one. But the Yankees, we earmark need 2 outfielders, however many left-handed bats as humanly possible. If they can be lefties, a plus, and then a starting pitcher. Is that going to all happen here this week? Are they going to trade for Juan Soto here this week? I don't know. We obviously don't know. It doesn't seem likely that that all these things get done here this week. But just Stacey, your general thoughts here on the winter meetings as we have now officially begun.
I'm just happy they're finally here, because it gives us something to talk about. Even if there's nothing to talk about, we at least have something to talk about, which makes me happy because, this offseason so far has been, it feels like forever. And now we're kind of almost at the top of the hill, because once the winter meetings happen, then everything starts snowballing and you get people signed, and then spring training comes and then the season starts. So I'm happy that they're finally here. And I mean, would it be nice if the Yankees could get some things done? They've done it in the past, but I don't expect too many big splashes this week.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, they've been kind of heating up here in the last week. Like, the rumors have been heating up, obviously all the Soto stuff, which we're going to get to later. There is some news on that front. We'll talk about that in a few moments here. But Stace, the history, the Yankees history here of winter meetings in recent. So let's go back all the way from last season through 2015. We have it all laid out. So last offseason, last winter meetings, of course, this is just winter meetings time. They obviously signed Aaron Judge during that time. That was the big splash. That was the biggest splash period of the winter meetings, especially the way it all played out. But they also signed 4 minor league contracts during that time and made 1 waiver claim. So some small moves outside of Judge. And you're going to see that as kind of a trend here over the most recent winter meetings, because 2021, no winter meetings. 2020, no winter meetings. In 2019, that was when the Yankees signed Gerrit Cole.
Yeah.
And also signed 3 minor league contracts. So we obviously can look to recent history to try and predict the future a little bit here, Stace. If there's anything we're seeing, 1 big splash, minor moves.
Right.
If there's anything we're seeing out of that, but that's only because that's the most recent stuff. Obviously, it's a wrench in the system with no 20 and 21.
Right.
2018, you go back to then, the Yankees signed J.A. Happ during those winter meetings. They made a trade with the Tigers. It was a minor trade for cash considerations. And then they had one minor league signing that winter meetings. And of course, the 2018 winter meetings were the big ones because that was the Harper Machado sweepstakes, which, as a reminder, they did not sign during winter meetings. They waited until after. So
I think spring training had started already, right? When was it Harper or
Harper,
both of them? I think it was Harper, right?
That was a weird winter meetings, and that was a weird offseason for sure.
Yeah, that really was.
That was a very strange offseason. 2017, right before the winter meeting started, like the day before, and they actually announced it the first day of the winter meetings, they had traded for Giancarlo Stanton. So that was the big splash they made then. They also had another trade. They traded Chase Headley and Brian Mitchell to San Diego for Jabari Blash. Obviously, that did not pan out. Since then, that was the trades. It was all trades that winter meetings for the Yankees. In 2016, it was back to kind of more what we're seeing here recently. That's when they signed Aroldis Chapman back. They signed Matt Holliday that winter meetings. They made 4 waiver claims and had 1 minor league contract. And then we go back to the 2015 winter meetings. They traded Adam Warren and a player to be named later for Starlin Castro. And then they traded Justin Wilson for Chad Green and Luis Cessa. So trades in further history, right?
Yeah.
Going back into the mid 2000s. More recently, the Yankees have made their bigger splashes, of course, the Cole and Judge signings. And then if you really wanted to call the 2018 J.A. Happ signing a splash, I don't know. But that is what they've done more recently, is kind of lean on the signings front, not necessarily the trade front, which is obviously all the rumors right now.
Yeah. And it makes you wonder, if COVID never happened, if the lockout never happened, what 2020 and 2021 would have been like for every team, and what was, because I don't even remember anything that was going on in those 2 years. I have kind of like a blank now because of COVID, that it's just like certain things, it's pre-COVID and post-COVID. So it's interesting with those 2 years, like what could have been for everyone. Yeah. Especially the Yankees.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that's why I'm like, it's tough to kind of, forecast a little bit of how they're trying to operate. The good thing here when you're looking at all of this is it's the same front office. So like you don't like, well, that was a different GM and that was a different president of baseball ops. It's like, it's the same guys.
Because there are a lot of teams that have that, where, there's been between 2015 and 2022, you have some teams who have had 3 GMs in that time, where there's been such turnover with the front office that it would be really hard to predict what they would do. So yeah, in that sense, it kind of helps a little bit. You
already know there are multiple teams right now who have a new GM from last season.
Yeah.
Many teams. Marlins, looking at the Marlins, looking at the White Sox. So yeah, take that how you take it. Again, you have a little bit of history there because of the Cashman of it all. Of course, Stacey, the Yankees did make a move already. A small move, but a move nonetheless. They waiver claim Oscar Gonzalez from the Cleveland Guardians. Of course, has some history with the Yankees. Gonzalez is an outfielder. He had a very down 2023. He's only 25 years old. If you're trying to put it into perspective, think of this as the new Franchi Cordero, I think.
Yeah, I think so
the
too,
Yankees with some outfield depth, hoping for a guy to bounce back, looking to get something out of him. Low cost, pretty decent reward is kind of the vibe I get with the Oscar Gonzalez claim.
Yeah, kind of like the whole, in case someone gets hurt, maybe he can come up for a couple weeks and get on a roll and do something and help them win type of thing. Maybe, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, remember they lost Jake Bauers. So that's part of it here too. So they needed multiple outfielders, as we knew that they also lack high end outfield prospects. They don't have a lot in AAA right now. So, I mean, every offseason teams make a bunch of minor league signings. So this won't be any different, of course. But Gonzalez is going to be the spring training. He's going to get a chance. He's going to get a chance. Regardless, Oscar Gonzalez will be fighting for at least a 4th outfielder spot. Yeah. Doesn't matter who the Yankees end up signing here in the offseason or trading for or anything like that. Oscar Gonzalez does figure to be at least part of the mix next season.
Yeah. And like you said, he's young too. So he could bounce back, could get better, could be one of those like lightning in a bottle guys that you don't expect to do anything and maybe does, which could be cool.
Yeah. he had a really nice 2022. Again, that's where the Yankees history kind of comes into play. But the 2023 aspect, he had a real down year. Kind of surprising that Cleveland dumped him that fast, placed him on waivers that fast. They're in a kind of a bit of transitionary stage too. Of course, new manager and new coaching staff and all that kind of stuff. So kind of confusing where the Guardians are come in. Obviously, they had a disappointing 2023. So I'm curious. I'm a little curious on that front. I still think there's plenty left in that bat, so we'll see how it all shakes out for next season. But yeah, lots to go over already. Lots of off-season winter meetings, rumor stuff already flying around. We're going to get to those here in just a second. Leave your questions. Oh, actually, wait. Why am I saying this? Don't leave your questions for Fan Mail Friday. There's a whole big reason. Michael K joins the show this Friday. Yes, you heard that right. Michael K joins us on this Friday episode. So there will not be a Fan Mail Friday. Details about that throughout the week. So make sure to hit subscribe. We'll be chatting winter meetings with Michael K on Friday's show. So hit subscribe. But you can join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. They're going to get a special perk here. So go check it out in the episode description. Now's your time to check it out. 14-day free trial. All right. Rumors, storylines, everything the Yankees are tied to and not tied to when we come back.
Score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's an easy $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is a breeze to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and you can also combine prop bets on a game into a single game parlay for even more fun and more chances to win big. The Jets are facing the Texans at home this Sunday. The Texans are favored by 4.5, and the over-under is 37.5. As for the Giants, they're playing again, hosting the Green Bay Packers on Monday Night Football on December 11th. The Packers are favored by 5.5, while the over-under is 36.5. And the Yankees, because this is a baseball podcast, have 14-1 odds to win the 2024 World Series. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
Back here on Locked On Yankees. Hey, as we just mentioned to the everydayers out there, Michael K joins the show on Friday. So that's this coming week if you're watching this when it comes out this Friday. What is that, Stacey? What day is that? The 8th?
I can't do math.
There you go. 8th. I guessed, and I guessed right. So Friday the 8th, Michael K will join the show. So make sure to hit subscribe as we welcome the voice of the Yankees. Super fun. Stacey, we want to talk about the biggest storylines that we're watching here in the winter meetings. And of course, we're tying it all to the Yankees, all the rumors, and we have to obviously start with this Juan Soto stuff. This has kind of crescendoed, it seems. Last we've heard, as of this recording, and I will date it 6:10 Eastern on Sunday, December 3rd. Last we heard on Soto that the trade conversation has stopped. So they are no longer talking trade with the Yankees at this stage. That could change with all of this. So make sure you're checking like trade rumors and stuff for the absolute latest info, but we have to record at some point. So that is the state of it right now with the Yankees. It seemed like those talks had heated up pretty well here just prior to the weekend and stalled at the weekend. Had to go off and go do something else. But this is what they asked for, reportedly. The Padres asked for Clark Schmidt, Michael King, Drew Thorpe, Randy Vasquez, Johnny Brito, and 2 other prospects. That deal also included the Yankees taking on Trent Grisham, who had a down season. Stace, your reaction to that trade package?
That's a lot. That's a lot. If you're looking at that right now as it stands, that's 2/5 of your starting rotation for 2024, at least the projected starting rotation for 2024, plus Vasquez and Brito, because Brito, stepped in there and Vasquez, and that's a lot of pitching to ask for and a lot of pitching for them to give up.
That's what they needed.
Yeah.
Right?
I know, right. I know that's what they need, but that's insane given how much pitching the Yankees have given up in the previous year. It's just like, that's a lot. That's a lot for them to give up.
That's a lot, especially because one of the highest end of those, save Michael King, is Drew Thorpe, We've talked about Drew Thorpe a trillion times here on this show. If you're an everydayer and you watched or listened last week when we talked to Javier Reyes of Locked On Padres, I said Drew Thorpe is a non-starter for me. I am not giving up Drew Thorpe in this deal. No ifs, ands, or buts. That is one of two of my must not moves personally. It's Oswald Peraza and Drew Thorpe for me. Obviously, they didn't ask for any infielders here. At least as far as we know, there are two others that are unknown from that trade proposal. Also more coming from this, the Yankees did not include these players: Jason Dominguez, Anthony Volpe, Gleyber Torres, Austin Wells, or Everson Pereira. I am not that shocked on multiple of these. Gleyber doesn't seem like a fit at all over there. There would be an upgrade over Cronenworth, obviously. But not surprised that they didn't offer Dominguez or Volpe. That's the least surprising news.
Yeah. It was almost like, when you read something and you think to yourself, duh, like we knew they weren't going to offer those guys. Those two are definitely guys that I was like, no, that's not.
I'm sure San Diego asked at least about Dominguez because they need outfield help too.
Yes.
Especially if they lose Soto, they need an outfielder. So,
but
no,
I don't know.
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
absolutely not.
No, there are a lot of people, I was looking on Twitter and some people are like saying things like the Yankees are stupid if they don't do this. And then there are others who are like, well, I don't know, that's a little too much.
Yeah, for 1 year. Remember, 1 year.
It's not guaranteed he's going to sign an extension. So he's got to be incredible for the 1 year that if they're giving up all this stuff, he needs to really help them.
Yeah. I mean, Schmidt, King, Vasquez, Brito is so much pitching, like you said. So much pitching. I mean, as far as we know from all these, it's all pitching. So period. We know. I mean, it's not surprising they asked for Michael King because they're losing Josh Hader. I don't think the Yankees want to move King whatsoever. Period. End of story. But I think this package is too far off for New York. This is giving up a lot for 1 year of a guy who is a Boris client and is in 99% likelihood going to free agency after the season.
Yeah.
So too much, way too much for me. I think I'm not like, oh, you got to hang on to Schmidt here. I'm not like, oh my gosh. But Thorpe, again, non-starter for me. Peraza, non-starter. Don't think that would ever come up regardless. King would love to keep a hold of too. I would like that. Vasquez, Brito, I like them. Don't love them. I'm just being real. Being real.
Yeah.
They need AAA pitching, and if there's part of the AAA pitching that you're giving up is Vasquez, Brito over Warren, Beater, Thorpe, then okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, we will continue that as it unfolds. That's the latest right now, and it has stalled. Stace, the Yankees are interested in Yoshinobu Yamamoto. We know that much. Free agent right-hander from Japan. The Giants, the Mets, and the Yankees are the reported teams that we know of that are the most bullish on Yamamoto. There are other teams who have expressed interest. Cody Bellinger, obviously, is another one. We know that the Giants and Yankees are in on it at this point. Stace, he does want a good chunk of change, though, like we kind of anticipated.
Yeah. Along with all the Soto stuff, people posting about how much Bellinger wants. And I mean, if you're just looking at 2023, sure, he can get as much as he's asking for if you just look at 2023. But if you look at previous years, and that's a lot of money for Cody Bellinger. The rumor is he's asking for $250, which is, that's a lot of money. Not my money, but that's a lot of money.
Yeah, for a guy that you don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you really don't. I mean, he had a great year in 2023, but
comeback player of the year.
Yeah, could have been an outlier. You don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. I'd like to think that there's still plenty of bat left in him. He's still young, and he's a good ball player. He's a good ball player. But yeah, that's the news on Bellinger right now. The Yankees are not in the mix for Shohei Ohtani. That's the last we heard. The teams that are in on him, the Angels are still in on him. The Dodgers, Blue Jays, and Cubs are confirmed. The Giants, maybe.
Yeah.
That is the list for Ohtani. Again, that's Angels, Dodgers, Blue Jays, Cubs, Giants, maybe. The Yankees are reportedly not interested in going that route. We made our peace with that last week. And then one more, Stacey. The Yankees have been rumored to be in on the mix for Jung Lee, another outfielder, another international outfielder who we did an episode, a segment on a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
But this is way earlier in the process than like Yamamoto or Soto or any of the Bellinger stuff. Like this is way earlier. As of this recording, Jung Lee has not even been posted yet to Major League Baseball, so teams can't even talk to him yet. The other report on this is there are around 20 teams that are interested in Jung Lee. So this is still very early on in the process. So early that the only reason we're bringing it up is because the Yankees name in particular was said when discussing Jung Lee.
Oh, and the other thing about the Soto stuff, in case you're not as online as the rest of us are and you just listen to podcasts, the other rumor is now that the talks have stalled between the Yankees and Padres, which could be because it's the weekend. So I don't know why everyone's freaking out. But the Blue Jays might be in on Soto, but that could also be them trying to get the Yankees to really do something at this point, like saying, oh, yeah, the Blue Jays are interested because the Blue Jays are also interested in Ohtani. So like they want to make some moves too.
They need to make moves. They need some they need a bat.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I mean, with the bats they do have, we've seen the last two playoffs, they get into the playoffs and they can't hit the pitching that's there. So yeah, they do.
They need
just like the Yankees. They have similar issues.
Yeah, they do. They do. Yeah, I wouldn't be super shocked if the Blue Jays made some sort of move here this week, just in general, just because, again, they need to do something here soon. They're only wasting Vladdy Jr. for so long, and obviously he had a down 2023 anyway, so
yeah,
can't keep wasting that. That's the news we have so far. Again, make sure to subscribe here because we will cover anything that happens. We will probably just be doing rumor stuff throughout the week, just in general. I'm sure we'll dedicate at least one segment to whatever else is new. There also might be things that aren't new. That's how the winter meetings works. Sometimes it happens fast. Sometimes it happens slow. You never know. You really never know, but we'll get it for you. We'll get it for you. That's what we're here for. All right. But there was one news that is solidified and done. A prospect has signed a long-term deal. We'll talk about that and the fallout of that and our feelings on it next. Back here on Locked On Yankees. All right, Stace, we've been talking about this here a little bit, top of the show, middle of the show, but we wanted to get to this here today. This happened last week. There is a young prospect by the name of Jackson Chourios for the Milwaukee Brewers. He is the number 2 prospect in minor league baseball, behind Jackson Holliday, who is the number 1 prospect for the Baltimore Orioles. They're still coming. The contract, Stacey, that Chourio signs, 8 years, $82 million, with 2 club options after those 8 years. When it's all said and done, he could make up to $140 million over 10 years with all his incentives. Stacey, your reaction to them signing a rookie who hasn't even made his major league debut to a near 10-year deal. We don't see this very often.
Yeah. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see my face. I'm just flabbergasted because I've never really heard of something this. I mean, that's a lot of money, and that's a long time for someone who hasn't played. Like that's wow. It almost feels like hockey. It feels like a hockey contract where they sign the kids at like 16 and they sign them for 15 years. Like this is what it kind of feels like when you look at this. It's just everyone was talking about it too. Like wow, like where did this come from? But good for him. I mean, wow. Yeah, I've never even heard of him, and I feel bad that I haven't. Yeah,
he had a hell of a 2023, by the way. He just had a great season, and his minor league time has been great. So he's a 5-tool player. It looks like he's going to be a thing, but it is shocking. This is the richest deal in Major League Baseball history signed by a player with 0 MLB service time. 0. He beats Luis Robert Jr.'s contract that he had $50 million. So $82 million, again, up to 140 if it goes full length. That's a lot of moolah, man. There have only been 5 signings in Major League history prior to this that he's signing a player with 0 MLB service time. That includes John Singleton from the Astros. He signed 5 years, $10 million back in 2014.
What a cute contract.
Yeah. This one didn't work out. 2018, Scott Kingery with the Phillies, 6 years, $24 million. In 2019, the White Sox signed Eloy Jimenez for 6 years, $43 million. The Mariners signed Evan White in 2019 to 6 years, $24 million. And then the aforementioned Luis Robert, 6 years, $50 million in 2020. Stacey, the fallout of this, like, obviously all these are within the last decade.
Yeah.
Is this a thing? Is this going to be a thing moving forward? Do teams start taking longer chances on their younger prospects to try and hang on to them for their best years?
I mean, if you have the money to do it, I guess why not? But looking at some of these names, you see how some didn't work out and some are kind of working out and they're okay. But gosh, that feels like a lot of money for these kids that are unproven, like, because people are always talking about, even when you're signing big contracts for guys who have played for 5-10 years and talking about how much money they're making. And for someone who's hasn't had any service time, 882 that's a lot.
Yeah. That's a lot to pay.
Feels like a big risk.
Your AAA star. Like,
yeah.
it's a lot.
Although, isn't it funny that the the number 1 prospect and the number 2 prospect in baseball are both named Jackson? Because
there you go.
We're at that time now where Zach's not going to be the most popular name in baseball. In the next few years, it's going to be like Jackson, Caden, like names like those. All those 2000 names are coming in.
You're saying the ones that worked out and didn't work out. John Singleton was pretty good. He was pretty good for those 5 years. Scott Kingery obviously was just non-tendered. Was just let go here by the Phillies. That was a real heartbreak ending for Kingery. Yeah. Eloy Jimenez, the injuries. Evan White, haven't seen that.
Right.
And then Luis Robert Jr. obviously had a really good 2023.
Yeah.
He was an all-star. So, it's the total coin toss, but I guess everything is when you're coming to prospects. If you think you have a guaranteed hit, and let's say Jackson Chourios hits and turns into top 10, then that's a steal. Yeah. Especially for it. It's weird because it's the Brewers. The Brewers are a team that just go check their Instagram comments on pretty much any post. They hate everything about their franchise, every single thing. Brewers fans are always mad at their.
I think that was what was shocking, was that it was the Brewers that did this, that it wasn't a different team. Because as you said, that's kind of like that kind of made it seem like it came out of.
If the Rays had done that.
Yeah.
If the Rays had done that. If the Pirates had done that. Those are teams I kind of expect. I guess maybe the Brewers are still in that mix, kind of when it comes to the Pirates. But I don't know. It's very interesting. It's a gamble, obviously, but it's a gamble that could pay off big time. Like, let's say the Yankees did that with Aaron Judge. Mm-hmm. Let's say the Angels did that with Mike Trout. Let's say, the Astros did that with Jose Altuve. Like, if these players had done that, then that is a steal, an absolute steal.
Yeah. Because when you look at the 5 that have done that so far, it's like hit or miss. Like, it's really like half, kind of, as much as you can have a 5. So it is really like
the Kingery was good for a little bit, and then
yeah.
That's tough, dude. It's really strange.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, all these are within the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if this starts becoming a trend, you heard it from us first. I guess that's what I'm saying is look out for this stuff. I really just wanted to talk about this because it was just so fascinating to me. Just like, yes, from a baseball business perspective, but like for Jackson Chourios, that's awesome if he doesn't pan out. Like if he doesn't have the career that he thinks is like, well, I still got 82 mil out of it. Like I'm still set up for life.
Yeah.
So
is his family, friends, possibly too. That's a lot of money.
If he does hit, he's like, man, maybe I shouldn't have signed that.
Yeah. Yeah. Like for the team, you can see why the team does it. But then for the player, it's like, well, what if they do hit and then they're stuck in this deal for a while? And that's kind of.
Yeah. I mean, it's still plenty of money, dude. Like you'll still be fine. You'll be able to help everybody out at home and you'll be able to help all your friends and you'll live the life that you want to live. It's plenty of money.
Yeah.
It's more than we'll ever see combined. Anyway, That's a great way to end the show.
Combined
Stacey.
and by 30 times. Yeah, at least 30 times. At least.
Exactly.
Jeez.
Yeah, there's not enough FanDuel ads on this show to get there. Love you, FanDuel. Anyway, Stacey, of course, big week here on Locked On Yankees. Not only is it Miners Monday, winter meetings. Brain just skipped a beat. But what else do we got coming up this week?
Oh, I don't know. We're just going to have Michael K on the show. No big thing.
Will he supplant Richard Fitz for his end of season award of best guest?
We'll see how he answers our questions.
There you go. That's the answer. And you'll have to see that too. Again, that's coming up on Friday. Join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. You're going to get a really cool perk out of this as well for being an insider. So now's your chance to go check it out. 14-day free trial. You can text Stacey. You can text me. Go check it out in the episode description. That's going to do it for a jam-packed Monday episode of Locked On Yankees. I'm Steve Granado.
And I'm Stacey Gonzalez. We'll see you tomorrow.